Welcome back. Bronx-based visual artist and photographer Roy Secord joins me to discuss a selection of his work in the exhibition Bronx Urban Nature. Roy, thank you so much for joining me.
Morning.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about your background as an artist and photographer?
Yes, I am primarily known as a public artist. I'm also a photographer and an arts educator here in the Bronx. Uh, my public art expressions, I work in painting, sculpture, mosaics, and you can find my abstract expressions actually uh, with my 8 murals at the BD line 174th subway station stop, which I think is a great example of my abstract work. I had a 20-foot tall sculpture in the South Bronx at Rainey Park called South Bronx Pride Totem. So I actually work in a lot of expressions, and COVID actually led me into a very new expression with my photography and my digital arts.
Now, your latest exhibit is the Bronx Urban Nature exhibit. Can you tell us what actually inspired this?
Yeah, sure. So, like all of us, when we ended up with the pandemic with the stay at home, I think it greatly altered our lives in ways we never expected. And for me, I had a art studio in Midtown East of Manhattan, which I traveled through to daily, and also going to the gym. And I also train in martial arts, and all of that was just stripped from me because of the stay at home. So basically, like all of us, we really did not have a lot of choices. My choices to go out were generally to the grocery store or to the pharmacy. So I really felt after a couple of weeks that I was so constrained at home and really not getting any exercise and really not knowing what to do with myself. So I decided that I was going to start to take long walks in my neighborhood, which I live in the North Central Bronx, and just start making wider and wider circles just to get out and walk and get some exercise. And what I soon discovered was there were so many very beautiful urban nature locations actually very close to me that I never even knew about. And as a natural extension, I started bringing my camera along to photograph the beauty that I was seeing in these wonderful locations. And being a very creative artist, I just could not leave the photography alone. So I actually started to meld my expressions together of photography and the graphic arts and create what are called digital paintings, where I took the photographs and manipulated them to create a more poetic and impressionistic expression. So not only are you seeing the image, but in my mind, you're also getting the feeling of what I was experiencing going out and really experiencing all those beautiful sights.
Now, I kind of want to touch on that part about like what you experienced because I think that oftentimes living in the Bronx, people don't know that we have so much beautiful wildlife and just nature that lives here. Why was it special to capture that and kind of like send that message out to the world?
You know, we live in the very urban Bronx, and I think even beyond the Bronx, there's such a big misperception of what the Bronx is and what the Bronx is not. And for me, I really felt like I lived primarily in a very urban section of the Bronx, but just going out and in all directions and really discovering so many different locations, let's say Van Cortlandt Park or Croton Aqueduct Trail, or go walking down Mosholu Parkway or Bronx Botanical Garden and discovering the Bronx River. I really became so aware that there are so many beautiful nature locations. And just in retrospect, looking at my images, many people tend to think that I go to Connecticut or I go upstate New York. And I'm actually very specific in that I shoot urban nature and specifically here in the Bronx. So I think it's really an incredible expression for me to sort of showcase the beautiful nature that we have right here in our own backyard.
Now, can you tell me about the process of finding the right moment to capture?
Um, for me, it's just a matter of discovery. A lot of times I venture into places where I have never gone before, and I think that's really the excitement for me. Really exploring and finding new places, new location, new subject matter, whether it's just a beautiful old tree or it's a river or geese or swans on the lake. And I just really discover and when I really find something that really moves me, I photograph, I do a lot of shots and then bring them back. And as I said, I really manipulate the images so they become very poetic in context. So not only am I taking a shot of that image, that subject matter, but I'm really holding on to that emotion. So when I get back to my studio, I can really manipulate those images. So as I said, not only do they have the look of what I see with my eye, but also what I'm experiencing emotionally. But it's always a surprise to me what I find just going out and doing these nature shoots.
And you talked about it a little bit, but can you tell me about the process of the use of technology and how that's been affecting some of your work?
Sure. So for me, no matter what expression I work in, whether it's painting or it's sculpture or it's mosaics or in this case photography, I really like to meld old and new technologies. So for instance, in my subway commission at 174th Street, I actually utilized graphic design and uh, printing with laser jet onto porcelain tiles, incising the tiles and filling them with artisan hand-filled mosaic tiles. So that was basically a synthesis of the old and the new. And I do the same thing with photography. So I'm actually shooting traditionally, shooting subject matter that is nature or landscape, and then bringing it back and rendering those images through a lot of different graphic programs to get the look that I want. So I think technology is a really wonderful thing, and really the synthesis for me with traditional photography with graphic programs really creates a very exciting subject or artwork at the end of the process.
Now, what are your thoughts on just other artists, or do you think other artists should kind of tap into using different forms and mediums of art to send out to the world?
You know, I think that's a really interesting question, and I've been a fine artist for quite some time, and I remember when I really started to get my leg up working as a professional artist and was told so many different times that I should really concentrate just on one medium alone. So pick painting, pick sculpture, pick photography, but just stay with it so you sort of create your own artistic niche and very important in terms of marketing. But I have found that the more that I have gone on as an artist, that embracing a lot of different mediums, like a lot of old masters have done. I mean, you take Picasso; he worked in a wide array of mediums, and I think for me, just working in a lot of different art mediums, whether it's painting or sculpture or mosaic or photography, one feeds and benefits the other. And if I really get very enmeshed in my photography, I soon come to realize that I really get hungry to start doing sculpture. So I really think it's great to embrace more than one medium. And like a musician that can play multiple instruments, you still have the same expression that's coming from you. You're just using a different vehicle to express.
Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that was actually like a common thing that was said, so I appreciate you kind of like telling that to us. Now, last year you received the NYC Artist Corps grant from New York City Department on Cultural Affairs for your Bronx Urban Nature series. Can you tell me about that accomplishment?
Sure. So this was actually a great accomplishment for me because, as I said, I've been primarily an abstractionist for a long period of time, and crawling into photography and nature photography, people were a little bit shocked by my change of venues. Although I continue to work in a lot of different mediums and expressions, but with the New York City Artist Grant. The purpose of that was twofold. One, to create an exhibition for the Bronx community, and also, two, I really work a lot as an arts educator in the Bronx, and I created a nature photography program for middle schoolers at public school IS 339, and that was really incredible because these students embrace photography so incredibly well. And not only did I teach them the basics of photography, but I took them on a nature field trip. And many of the students had told me they had never even been in a forest before. So it was really wonderful that I could serve community and the youth by really getting the youth involved in not only photography, but also in discovering nature.
Now we have about 2 minutes left. Can you quickly just tell us about your project, A River Runs Through It?
Yeah, sure. So I really kind of piggybacked off my successes, and I applied and was awarded a grant for the New York State's FY 2022 New Work Fellowship, and it's a pretty substantial grant, and that coupled with receiving funding from the Bronx Council of the Arts for the Art Fund, I am documenting the beauty of the complete 23-mile stretch of the reclaimed Bronx River and adjoining greenways. So I'm really excited about that project. It's going to run through the entire year, and in December I will be having a Bronx exhibition to showcase all of those photographs and digital paintings.
And can you quickly just tell us, what kind of conversations you hope it will spark up in the community?
Yeah, sure. I think it's really important for us to realize just in terms of stewardship that we have all this beautiful nature around us that we really need to care and protect. And the Bronx River is a story of incredible reclamation of environment. It was used as an open sewer for 200 years until community really got involved, scientists, environmentalists, and really turned the river around where it is now protected and really a beautiful resource for us to all enjoy. So I really hope what people will take home from this exhibition is we have this right here in our own community, and we are stewards to protect that resource.
All right, Roy, thank you so much for joining us. If the viewers take a look at the screen, they'll be able to see your social media. And once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Open BxRx Tuesday.